guys, I'm Bernardo Vallerino, one of the board members of Estas, hermosas, and we want to welcome you into Artist during these interesting times. I am with Stormie Parker. She is the artist here in the main gallery at Estas, hermosas. Since you're not able to stop into the gallery, we're doing a little video so we can show you the artwork and some details, and the artist is going to talk to us about some of the details and maybe what's her favorite things about the artwork, where inspiration came from, and a few other things. So Stormie, tell us a little bit about this wonderful exhibition.
Okay, well, it's a really important exhibition for me. I've been working with endangered species since 2015. I started with a elephant exhibit, and then I moved on to other Asian species, and for this particular show we focused on endangered species of the Americas. So what we're trying to do is let people know what's important, what are the important animals here that are at risk, because when we think of endangered species we think of course everybody thinks of an elephant or a tiger, these really
megafauna,
yes,
big animals.
But there are hundreds of American species across the Americas, not just the United States, but Latin America, North America. And so this show is more focused on those so that people can realize what's happening here, that there are all these species that are really important to us that we're losing.
What animals or what species are you showcasing in this show currently?
So we have bears. I've got a grizzly bear, polar bears. We have manatee, wolves, turtles, bats, butterflies. It just really covers the whole gambit.
Excellent, and also some monkeys as well, right?
Yes, we've got howler monkeys, which are just fabulous. They were fun to do. They've got big mouths open, just howling. If you've ever heard them, when you look at their mouth, you can just kind of almost feel the howl, because it's just this reverberating sound when you hear them. And also giant otter. He's one of my favorite pieces. And
I like the one with the orca, another orca with the whale. She also has a wonderful whale, a humpback. There you go. An exhibit. Now tell us which one is your favorite piece.
So my favorite piece actually is one most people don't want in their house because it is a really powerful piece. So one of the things I'm doing with this exhibit is putting the animals up in trees, they're on top of boats, in precarious positions where they're uncomfortable. And what I'm trying to do with that is have the viewer feel that uncomfortableness about the animal without like an in-your-face, I'm dying kind of feeling. That is happening, but at the same time, I want the viewer, when they see them, to feel the uncomfortableness of the animal. So the one that is most impactful to me is the sea turtles. And so they are in a boat, and there's lots of garbage floating around, and there's a turtle trying to get up on the boat. Well, you know, the turtle should be in the water, not on the boat.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
That's the big message, and it's really obvious of why they're getting out of the water.
You're definitely using comedy, kind of a light, tongue-in-cheek comedy with your pieces.
Yeah, I think one of the best parts of my work is that I put a lot of feeling into the characters. You can see that it's not just a sculpture of an animal, but you really feel their personality, and that's part of it.
Yeah, and if you guys are familiar with Stormie's work, she has a series of rabbits, which my mom owns one of them, right? And you understand what she's talking about. This character, this kind of personification of the animal that she inputs in there to get them to get you to feel, to empathize with their struggle.
Right. It's really important to me that people like connect with them on an emotional level, and when you have that emotion in the sculpture, that you can connect and feel the more impact from the sculpture. Yeah.
So my favorite one, I think the one that really connected with me, is the butterfly pieces. So there is a butterfly tree, or a tree made with butterflies in it, I should say.
Monarchs.
A monarch specifically, and then another piece that is called The Last One.
And then there was one.
And then there was one.
One of the conservationists that are trying to protect the forest in Mexico where these butterflies winter used to be a logger. His family came from logging, and he eventually turned to a conservative and tried to save the trees instead of logging them, and was trying to introduce tourism into the country in order to protect the butterflies. And I have to say here that monarch butterflies are not on the endangered species list, but they were included with this because I thought it was really important. Number one, we can all relate to a monarch butterfly. We see them, we know that their food supply here in America is something that's on the decline, and it's affecting these animals. And then the deforestation in Mexico is huge on that too. They're about to be put on the endangered list. They're threatened. So the reason I included them is because of that. People can relate to them, and also this was what happened to this man was really impactful. So he was killed, and one of the other conservatives in the area that was working with him was also murdered, and these were, they believe, was done by cartels that are in logging. And so one of our local writer, Jerry Field, did a write-up on him, and it's posted here in the gallery. And you know, just that happened right when this show was going up. It was, people were hearing the story on NPR and different outlets of these guys that were getting murdered by trying to protect the animals.
Exactly. So you will see throughout the video the little postings that she did on the wall. Also, there's kind of a funny story. You know, we artists, when we're creating, sometimes the materials throw us kind of a side ball, and we have to kind of figure out last minute what to do. So there's a funny story about one particular piece in the gallery in which she had to recreate or kind of rethink how she was going to showcase it. So tell us which piece it is, and tell us what happened. What was the calamity?
Well, this was a really big sea turtle that was going to be a wall piece, because I don't have a lot of wall pieces, and we have wall space, so I was trying to fill up the wall space, and so I made this big turtle that was going to hang. And
that big, like it's
yeah,
that big, right?
it's big. It was really big.
That size.
And so I put it in the kiln, and I don't know what went wrong exactly, but my kiln fired off too fast, and these pieces have to be fired really slow. So like a 15-18 hour firing, and it was only a 7-hour firing, and it blew up, along with another piece, a Peruvian frog that I had in there as well.
Because the frog.
And it was just rubble in the bottom of the kiln. I should have taken a picture, but I was so distressed about the whole thing. So what was left was the head and the fins. And I actually had gone to this meeting at Fort Worth Art Collective, and I was just bemoaning this. I'd opened the kiln that morning, and one of the other artists said, "Oh, you should just, you know, have it all ground up or whatever and use it like that." Well, I went home and I was really thinking about what she said, and so I salvaged the head, and the fins were actually okay too. And I just put them in a big pile of plastic bags. And it is a really impactful piece.
It is. It turned out really
And
good.
you, as you know, I didn't want to broadcast that particularly. You know, it was a disaster, and but you know, it worked out really well, and I think the piece is very impactful.
Yeah, I do think that it is as well. It's one of those that you unexpected. You see this all this rubbish, and then within that rubbish, then you realize that there's an animal of sorts, and you can really empathize with the struggles of being possibly, you know, covered with trash. A lot of the people who came to see the show at the opening really liked the manatee. So talk to me a little bit about the manatee.
Okay, I'd love to, because I really do love this piece. It is on my top 10 here of my favorites. Just because it's so big, but also just that he's in this tree and totally doesn't belong here. This is an Amazon manatee. It's one of the smallest manatees in the world, and they are endangered. Mainly because of hunting early on, and now due to fishing, they get caught in nets at fishers, pollution in the area. There's a lot of things that are still threatening them. But the tree itself is made out of paper mache, and it's got a cardboard center, like a big tube, and I just made the limbs and everything out of wood structures, dowels, and paper mache them. So that was something new for me. So it was a stretch as far as getting out of clay and going to something else. But I wanted that because I wanted the height. I wanted this to be a large piece. And we call it Mana-Tree, which is really fun. I just love the name of it. That's one of the reasons I wanted to kind of focus on it for a minute. And there's a lot of things I didn't know about manatees, and like for instance, they have little fingernails. I mean, when you see a manatee in the water, you normally just see the head, and you might see the fin or the bulky body. But I thought this was really interesting that they had these fingernails, and they actually have almost a palm-like structure underneath their fin here as well. And I just love this guy, and I wanted to share him with you today while we were doing this film.
Well, thank you so very much, Stormie. I appreciate you coming to the gallery during this kind of odd time to talk about your artwork and to give us a little bit of insight